Hello there, my very good friends. Andy Murray here for What Culture Wrestling, and WrestleMania 39 is in the books. You've had a couple of days now to relax, to chill out, to meditate on the results, to maybe get over whatever you were feeling in the wake of Cody versus Roman, or maybe not get over it. It was a pretty big call after all. Think about the match quality, think about the business ramifications, the impending takeover, all of that stuff. But now with that parked and out the way, all that silly nonsense, it's time to talk about what really matters coming out of the biggest wrestling show of the entire bloody year. Clothing. Of course, I'm being a bit facetious there, but the wrestlers of WWE and the people who helped them design their attire and the costumes and everything else, they put a lot of effort in. I mean, they put a lot of effort in year round really, but particularly when it comes to WrestleMania. We've seen all kinds of fine sartorial choices over the years, paying tribute to former selves, to superheroes, to movie characters, to whatever. A vast range of influences always comes out, and this year's WrestleMania was no different at all. I'm Andy from What Culture, and here are 10 hidden meanings behind WWE WrestleMania 39 attires. Number 10, Austin Theory. His night. For WrestleMania 39 in Austin Theory, it was all about beating John Cena, stamping his place in WWE history, scoring the biggest win of his career, and making the evening all about him, or as much as was possible, on the same show that saw Sami and Kevin win the tag titles and Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair. But I digress. It was a big night for Austin Theory nonetheless, beating John Cena in the opener, and for his attire, he basically co-opted the look of the entire show. This guy had A-Town Down written in the Hollywood lettering, he had his own Walk of Fame star, and he even had his own name written there in place of the WrestleMania logo. His gear was all about showing that this night belonged to him, and so he kind of made himself look like the night itself, which is kind of interesting. Nonetheless, it'll be very interesting to follow Austin's career after that win over John Cena. Spoke a little bit about the match itself and the ramifications of it in the star ratings video. You can check that out from yesterday. But yeah, he looked good. I mean, it's difficult for this guy to physically look bad, but he looked particularly good with this attire. Number 9, DOMINIK Mysterio, his two dads, and his MAMI. Big night for DOMINIK, just like Austin Theory at WrestleMania 39. He lost to Old Man Ray, that deadbeat dad of his, one-on-one in a tremendous popcorn pantomime match. The ring entrances, honestly, were one of the best thing about this match, and it was great in itself, but this goofball coming down with one of his old man's masks on, handcuffs, the police wagon. It was an absolute joy from start to finish, and so was Dom's attire. He had MAMI written on his ass. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Look at it, it's weird. Not only does he have MAMI written on his ass, which is obviously a tribute to Rhea Ripley and that ongoing storyline, but it was in a kind of Eddie Guerrero-esque font as well, so clear stuff to play with there. And on top of all of that, the attire was kind of reminiscent of Ray's at Halloween Havoc 1997, which of course was co-opted by Seth Rollins for his introductory rival with DOMINIK in 2022. No, 2020. 2022 was last year. Either way, it all comes kind of full circle in a beautiful way. Whoever's putting DOMINIK's gear together, be it his dad, be it himself, be it someone else entirely, they're doing a good job. This was good. Number 8, from one Mysterio to another, it's Rey Mysterio paying tribute to the Great Muta. Great Muta was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, of course. He was at the ceremony, all that stuff. He was pictured at the WWE tryout over WrestleMania weekend. So the great man himself, of course, has just retired in one of the most elaborate pro wrestling ass retirements I've ever seen, in which one retirement match somehow became like 5. It's a good laugh across the board, but there's definite similarities in the mask that Rey was sporting at WrestleMania 39 and the classic Great Muta look. It was a night of many tributes actually for Rey. Of course, he had the Eddie Guerrero tribute in his entrance and all of that stuff, but sartorially, clear nod to Muta. Nice to see him kind of recognizing a legend, and WWE recognizing a legend who didn't work for the company and who most of his best work in the States came with WCW. You just like to see it. Number 7, Seth Rollins, a different kind of visionary. And yes, I am calling Jeff Jarrett a visionary here. The strap design is very reminiscent of Jarrett's in the 90s. Seth just went for the bright pink, which is pretty awesome. It's a it's a nice color, what can I say? On top of that, there was a bunch of people on social media drawing lines between Seth's gear at WrestleMania and Magneto from the X-Men as well. So there's another hidden meaning behind the attire. Me, personally, I like to think he was just paying tribute to Jeff Jarrett, but nobody was eating no guitar shots over the head, fortunately. Either way, Seth always goes mental with his attire. It doesn't need to be WrestleMania. This guy will wear the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen on just a garden variety episode of Raw. He goes hard every single time. That's why he's the visionary of Drip, or I don't know, I'm too old to be saying things like that, but look at it. What a man. What a tremendous man. At number 6, Logan Paul, Wolverine. It's quite appropriate that Seth Rollins had some Magneto vibes because here's Logan Paul with some Wolverine vibes. Yellow, blue, what more do you bloody want? There's nothing more to Wolverine than that. Is there? No spikes coming out of his fingers or anything? Well, fortunately, Logan didn't go that far because Seth, or the Prime Bottle, KSI, would have gotten skewered or something. Either way, they had a really fun, enjoyable match. Logan continues to be a pro wrestler far better than his experience level. The guy's just tremendous at this, and yes, I know he's a bit of a wally in real life in some aspects, to say the very least, but he keeps showing out in these big matches, and I've got to give him credit for that and for this gear. It's nice. Number 5, Trish Stratus. WrestleMania goes Hollywood again. Trish here was kind of decked out like she was back in 2005. It's attire very reminiscent of one of her vintage years in pro wrestling, of course. And that was quite fitting on this event where she entered a pretty solid performance. The 6-man, her, Lita and Becky versus Damage Control. It had some awkward moments, I think that's fair to say, but Trish still has it together. And in fact, I left it kind of wanting her to do another singles match with somebody later down the line. Maybe they've already set that up by the time you're watching this. Either way, I want to see it. And of course, the former women's champion was a huge part of the Hollywood theme the last time WWE used it, so it makes sense to see her harking back to her past right here. Number 4, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, PWG. That logo you're seeing on the attire of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania was a tribute to the time in PWG. It's the PWG logo. Now, for those of you who aren't necessarily indie wrestling fans, I think Kevin did a particularly good job of explaining this at the post-show presser, but this is the kind of taste-making, cutting-edge, leading indie promotion for many, many decades. Still running today out of Los Angeles, California, previously of Reseda, of course, but it's where the likes of Sami and Kevin and countless others who've come into WWE and gone to AEW and had great success, the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, Keith Lee, Chris Hero, loads and loads of people. The promotion's success kind of speaks for itself. It was the most buzzworthy, cool indie promotion in the world for a long, long time. It was a hugely important part of both of these men's legacy and countless others, so it was really nice to see them remembering their past on the pay-per-view, paying tribute, and showing a bit of respect, showing a bit of love. The indies made these guys, and they did awesome in the Night 1 main event. Number 3, the Usos, the main eventers, and the good guys. Typically, the color white on attire is, in wrestling in particular, it's supposed to resemble good. I'm the hero, I'm the virtuous, the pure, the whatever. Obviously, the Usos are heels, and they were playing heels against Sami and Kevin at Mania. That was the whole story. But that being said, this could be interlocked into the entire Bloodline story as a whole. These guys could be nudging that maybe in the not too distant future, they are going to be presented as the good ones under the overbearing tyranny of one Roman Reigns. Smart, good, layers. And of course, there is a rich tradition of people just looking absolutely sensational in the main event, wearing ice white at WrestleMania. It's exactly what these fellas were doing right here, and they had a great match with Sami and Kevin. Number 2, Bianca Belair, the EST goes Hollywood. Bianca always comes out with some tremendous attire, particularly for WrestleMania, and this year was no different at all. She had her own Walk of Fame Hollywood star right across the front of her gear, EST style, and she looked great. She had a fun match with Asuka on night 2 for the Raw Women's Championship. She's emerging as something of a WrestleMania standout for sure, Bianca. She's got this Asuka match, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, of course. Every single time she goes out there and she delivers. And more importantly, she usually comes out of these matches feeling like the biggest star in the entire galaxy. That was, the same again this weekend. Was the match as excellent as the Sasha and the Becky matches? That's up for debate. Personally, I'd say maybe just a notch below. Either way, Bianca's awesome. She is killing it right now. She's been killing it for years, in fact. and long may it continue. And at number 1, Cody Rhodes and his personalized weight belt. A lot was obviously made of this in the build to WrestleMania. Cody said, hey, at Mania, I'm gonna have a belt, and on the back of it, it's gonna have the initials and details of every single company I've worked with to get to this point. And it was revealed a little bit before the show, and eventually, obviously, he comes down the ramp with it, wearing it. Didn't have the best nights, kind of lost, kind of not great for Cody coming out of this show, but the belt was there and it looked pretty cool. Obviously, you know, biases got a pop out of seeing the WCPW scrawled on the back when the photo emerged, but either way, every company he's ever worked for was on this thing. Just like Sami and Kevin, it's a nice nod from Cody to the companies that helped him get to this point. Obviously, he was in WWE before reinventing himself on the indies and in AEW and everywhere else, but it was that period between 2016 and 2022 when he really found himself, elevated himself as a performer, and made it to the Mania main event. It was a spot earned on merit, and here's hoping he gets another crack at it. Anyway, that's it. So the video's done. If you missed, or if I've missed, I should say, you guys aren't going to miss anything. You're razor sharp. But if you saw an attire that I didn't pick up on for this video, let us know in the comment section below. There's a lot more that we could have touched on. These ones just felt like the most substantial. Once you've done that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Then you can follow us on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and then you can follow me on Twitter at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for haberdashery, because cloves. Yeah. Bye.